Okay, guys, as I promised, it's Friday in the afternoon. I wanted to go ahead and get the TestOut Network Pro navigation out of the way for you. And then when I get time, I'll do the very first lab to give you an idea how it works. But I'll also show you if you do ever make an error or you get frustrated with the lab and you just want to close out for a while and come back, you can always submit the lab because you can redo them as many times as you want, and I'll show you that. And it will always keep the highest score. So if you leave or walk away, you can leave and walk away. But if you decide to log out, and once you log back in and do it again, it will retain the highest score of all of your attempts within the time frame that your assignments are due. All right, so you will get your username and you will create a password when you activate your account. And just to be very clear, as what Justin is saying is one way that maybe some schools or certification programs do, but in most of the colleges and universities, when we use TestOut, it is not just to get a certification. They're actually doing coursework, and we add to that in a 16-week program. It's not a condensed version of it because you're not doing all of this. You're only doing a portion of TestOut. You are not doing the whole course of TestOut. Okay, so you're not doing every chapter, but I will show this to you because this is what I do with my students every term that are in networking with me. My networking, the introduction to networking, this is what they do. So you'll get your username and your password. You just log in. Now you'll see this, I don't have an account via NewPass. I have mine through my college. So I have all these products available to me. And these are my products, which is pretty much everything that TestOut does. But for you, when you go to get in, all you're going to is the Network Pro. So don't be confused with Network Pro and the CompTIA Network Plus. That's the certification you're wanting to achieve. TestOut was purchased just this year by CompTIA, which is fantastic for us because as a liaison between the two companies, it helps me when my students go to get their vouchers and schedule their tests and all this. I only have to go to one place now. We don't have to go to two. So you would be working with the Network Pro, which is aligned to the CompTIA Network Plus content. Okay. And you're doing the N10-008. So you would be looking at Network Pro. So this is what you would see when you first log in and you go to this. You'll see they're letting you know, and you should do these things. We're starting off with chapter 2, but my advice to you, if you are not familiar with TestOut, is to start so that you understand how to use the simulator. So in chapter 1, that is the purpose. But if you want to know what all the chapters are, all you have to do is click on what looks like a little notebook piece of paper. Just click on that. And now you'll see this is the actual course outline, and this is the entire thing that my students do for the 16-week term. Okay, so you'll see that there's a number of chapters. And then notice at the bottom where it says B, CompTIA Network Plus practice exams. My advice to you is to make sure you do the practice exam. You need to do the Network Pro practice exam as well. But you want to do this. And the nice thing about this, when you click on it, it helps you to prepare for it. So I would advise you when it comes time, don't not do these because it's going to have the questions aligned to how CompTIA actually does it. Now, I do know from when I've taken it before, there's usually about 4 or 5 simulations in the CompTIA Network Pro exam. And then that's multiple guess. I call it multiple guess, multiple choice, fill in the blank, true, false. And that's how they're laid out. Now, we will have at the end of this course, this part of our course, I will do the mock exams, just like I did for you with the AZ900, to give you an idea of some of the examples so you know how the questions are worded and what to be paying attention to. I will also be providing you the outline, the objectives for the exam, so you know all the areas that you need to be looking at when you go to take the exam. So you'll have a number of things. We have a student in this class that doesn't come to the class. He's never come to our class. He was late enrolled. Anyway, I gave him yesterday, he emailed me. He's not interested in the course content. He only wants to do the certs. Okay, some people do. I can't force people to go to class. But I gave him 4 different scenarios of he can get the study guide, which I'll provide you. He can use the objective outline, which I will provide you. Professor Messer's channel for CompTIA Network Plus, which I provided, which I will provide you. And this section B of the TestOut Network Pro to do the CompTIA practice exams. Okay, so you have 4 different ways to do this. So again, the chapters that we're going to be working on are listed. We're not doing all 14 of the chapters. So in the introduction, you'll see this is how it's laid out. So what it is you get videos, okay? And you can either play the video with the interactive script, which is what I do, and I usually just read along and then I go do what I want to do. Or you can just play the video. It's going to be up to you which you choose to do. And then you just scroll through and it will give you information on each section, what it is that you are going to be doing and how to use the simulator. So when you go into this is how it will look when you actually do a lab, when you're doing the simulated labs. And I do really love TestOut. I've been using them for about 11 years now. And they love me. I mean, I'm actually going to be in one of their promotions that's coming out. So I know, very exciting. But anyway, and we use this across the globe. But it tells you get a scenario and it will tell you what it is that you will be doing. And they tell you what you need to do for the tasks in the lab. And then you would just click on start and it will load. So depending on your internet, it's going to load. And they always tell you to use Chrome, but I have found with some of my students, sometimes it's a little difficult getting Chrome to do some things sometimes. So you might need to use Firefox, but it doesn't work well with Safari or the others. So between Chrome and Firefox. So you'll see they'll give you a layout. So we know that we've got a networking closet here and we've got an office number 2, right? So they'll give you the scenario to say, hey, you've been hired as a network technician for a small corporate network. Today is your first day on the job and you need to familiarize yourself with the network. In addition, a new employee will be working in office number 2 and you need to set up their laptop. So in this lab, your task is to complete the following from the hardware view. This is the floor view, an overview of the floor. So from the view of the hardware view of the office. So when they say hardware, they mean go to the office here and you're going to click on hardware, right? And then you're going to add the monitor to office number 2. You're going to use an HDMI cable to connect the monitor to the computer, the office computer, connect the power cord, plug in the monitor, add a keyboard and mouse, and then turn on the monitor. When you're done with your labs, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go to hardware. There it is. Now, the beauty of this is when you're done, you score your lab. Now, just because you score it, say you messed, oh, I messed up, I shouldn't have done it. It's okay, because you can do it again as many times as you want before the due date, before the assignment due date, okay? And I'm not that much of a stickler, as you know, as long as you get it done within that week's time frame, the week that we're doing the work, right? So you can either use your plus or you can use the scroll bar here to zoom in and out. The front is right here. You can click on back. That shows you the rear of the computer or the device that you're using. And then inside, if we want to look at the motherboard. So these are our choices for the work we're doing. And you can open up your shelf because that's where the items are going to be that you're going to be needing to work with, right? So the shelf is where the accessories or items are that you need to add to the existing workspace. And these are some of the partial connectors that we have. Here is our data port. Here are our outlets. So what you would do is, okay, they say add the monitor to office number 2. Well, you would go to where it says monitors. And then you would just take that and you would select it. Oop, select it. Stop. There you go. We just click on it and selected it. It's just sitting there right now, just sitting there. We then will say, okay, use the HDMI cable to connect the monitor to the office computer. Okay, so we want to drag that from the selected component now to our workspace, just as if it was a desk. Here's the computer. Now we're going to add the monitor. And when you do get something wrong, which is what I was trying to show you there, is it will outline it in red and make a zap sound. And when it's good, it'll put it in its place and it'll be in blue. So we know we're good. All right, so we see the front, right? But we need to connect the HDMI, don't we? So we need to do the back of the computer and we need to do the back of the monitor, right? All right, so use the HDMI cable to connect the monitor to, okay, so we're gonna go and look for our cables. So you go to cables. All right, so here it's marked for you. And if you wanna know more about the item, you would just click on the details and it will either have information pertaining to it in written in Word, or it will enlarge it for you or show you other things about it. Okay, so that's what the detail means. All right, so we want to use that. So now as I've clicked on it, you'll notice it's dropped it down and we know that we have two ends, right? One has to go to one piece, one has to go to the other piece. So they're both the same on each end. They're not different like some of the USBs. So we want to now find the HDMI connection on the monitor. So we see, okay, it looks like it's right here. So we want to take this and drag it. You'll see it drag. See it? I hold down on my, I don't have a mouse, but I'm using my touchpad. And I want to go, and it will highlight it for you. And you'll hear it click. If it's not correct, it'll zap. Okay. And it will let you know in red around here that there was a problem. Okay, so we've got that part connected. Now we need to connect the other part. So I'm going to decide to use this one. And now I'm going to go to the other HDMI. And now it's in. So now we've got the monitor and connected to the computer. All right, now we need to connect the power cord to the monitor and plug the monitor in. Okay, so let's go to, we've got power cord. So let's click that. And we're going to go and say, okay, we need to use the female end, right? And we're going to drag that here. All right, and then we're going to take the male end here. And we're going to drag that there. All right, so now we've got it plugged in. Now we need to add a keyboard and a mouse. So what I'm going to do is go to the input devices on my shelf. And now I'm going to click keyboard. And it's a USB connector. And you can choose whatever USB slot you want to go to. There's 4 of them. I'm going to choose that one. There's my, and you'll notice it moved with the monitor down now. And now I've also got to choose the mouse, right? So I'm going to choose the mouse and put it right next to I'm left-handed with it anyway. So I'm going to put it there. So now we've got everything connected, right? No, we have to make sure it shows you a USB cable for the mouse. Usually it's just a little piece, but we're going to go ahead and make sure to connect that. So I think I'm just going to put it right above the keyboard. Ooh, he froze. Okay, there we go. All right. So we're good to go, right? So now we want to turn these things back to front. And you can use the scroll here to go back and forth across your workspace. And we're going to turn the monitor around to the front, right? And then it says turn on the monitor and the computer. So we need to go to where the on switch is for the monitor, which is over here. I click on that. And then I'm going to go over here to the computer and I'm going to click on that. Right? And we should be good to go. So it's loading. We see a window, right? The logo. All right, we see everything there. It looks good. And then you can go and score your lab. Now, if you're not ready to score and you don't think you did something right or you missed something or you were too quick, just click start over. It will start the entire lab over for you, but it won't score it because you didn't choose to score it. Just start it over. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and score it. Now, what you should see when you score your lab, and you can print these, is you should see that you passed. And all the actions that we did step by step are checked off in green. If there is a red X, it means that you didn't do something that needed to be done. But the beauty of this, and I always remind my students, look at what the answers are, because what they do is down here for the explanation, they tell you exactly what to do step by step. So if you can't find something or something doesn't seem to, you think, oh no, I did plug in that network interface card and turn this on. If you don't think if you think you did something right, you let support know. Okay. But the idea is go through the explanation, make sure you did those steps and do it again. And if it still comes out wrong and you think you did it exactly as they tell you, then yeah, we would need to let tech support know. But again, score your lab. And once you score your lab in our Populi, where we have our grade book, it will automatically enter your entry. Okay, so I don't have to go into, because I can't access TestOut for the class. I can only do it for my college. It will score you. And if you redo it, say you got a 4 out of 6 and you wanted to do it again, it will again retain the highest score. So if you get a 6 out of 6, it would then replace that 4 and put the 6 in. Okay, but that's how this works. And you just have to get used to it, but it's a really, really great tool. And again, you're going to find when you go back and you look at all your chapters, there's a lot of information here. You'll see there's going to be, this means video. This means it gives you information, facts about this, about twisted pairs. And I'll have stuff to show you as well. But it gives you information as well. It's not just doing labs. There's content. We use this as a canned course content. And then it will tell you more about Ethernet, but this is the lab that you would do. And then after that, it moves on to the next. So you'll see that you will have videos, you'll have facts, you'll have a lab. The mouse means a lab. And then always at the end, you will have practice. You will have a practice exam. And these are questions pertaining to the section that you just did, this area you just did. Again, video, some facts about fiber optics, a lab, a simulated lab for you to perform, and then practice questions as you go through the chapters that you are assigned. And that's how this works. And if you do get stuck, if at any time you have any issues where it didn't load properly or it froze, please let me know, but also we need to let tech support know, and they're very good. TestOut is based in Utah, so they are 3 hours behind us between you and Pennsylvania and me. So they are good to answer very quickly once they're in the office. So if you let me know too, then I can get with them as well. And we can also alert anybody else in the class. Sometimes there's little glitches here or there, but it's not very often. It's usually with us having access from our bandwidth from our provider. And that's how TestOut works. So let me just double check what chapters we're actually going to be covering in our new pass. All right, so let's get in here. Let's look at the agenda for week 4. And hopefully you're studying and you're going to do fantastic today and tomorrow on your exam. I have no doubt. All right, let's go and look at the agenda, week 4. All right, so you see we're doing chapter 2, which is due on Tuesday. Do they have you doing labs? Or they just, yeah. Actually, yeah, they do. Okay, so you're doing TestOut videos and the fact sheets. You're going to do your chapter 3, these sections. And then you're going to do, it has here the CompTIA. I don't want you really, like I told you, I'm going to change this B4. I'm not really ready for you to do that yet. I'd rather see how you do maybe midway through the Network Pro to see how you're doing, you know? And then, of course, as we know, I'm going to be going over, because I have lots of presentations for my networking stuff. I don't have a way to fabricate a fiber cable in class, so I don't know how they want me to do that. But I will find stuff for you about fiber. So we know we're doing 2 and 3. We know that we're doing 4. Let's look at the next one. Week 5, 2, 3, and 4. And 5, 6. Seven and 8. And it's only certain sections that you're doing in this stuff too. You're not necessarily doing all the chapters. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. Okay. And yeah, 11. They're trying to get you to do all the, you're not doing you're doing all the chapters, but you're not doing everything in all the chapters because it would be impossible. because I do this in a 16-week term. And even in summer, when I'm teaching in summer, I do 13-week terms. So yeah, you're going to be doing certain parts of the chapters that they want you to do. You're not necessarily doing all of the chapter, but we'll point those out as we go along. But that's how TestOut works. I think you're going to like these simulations better. I do think you will like these better than the Pearson ones. So I'm looking for my drink. I'm in the hospital, so it takes a few minutes to load. But yeah, so you get scenarios, follow what they say. And again, remember, front, back, motherboard, drive bays, if you need to be able to maneuver them. And always look at your shelf because these are the items that you're going to be using in order to do your job. Okay. So other than that, that's all I have. And then what I'll do then is I will then provide this. I'm going to get this posted in like 10 minutes once it propagates. And then if you have any questions during Sunday or Monday, let me know. And let me know if you don't get your voucher to get into TestOut. Okay. All right, guys. Have a good luck. I'm rooting for you. All right, let me go ahead and close this out. And let me close this out. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to end it.